Thank you very much, Malcolm. I'm Richard Conroy, the chairman of Conroy, and I have with me this evening Maureen Jones, who's the managing director, Garth Earls, who's joined us as a non-executive director, has previously worked with us as a consultant, Andrew Morells, geologist, and my good colleague Kevin McNulty, senior geologist. And Kevin and I are going to update you, if we may, on our project, the company and our project. We're at the opposite end of the spectrum to the very interesting talk you've just heard in relation to tailings usage. We're at the exploration end. Very difficult end. The odds are sometimes said, perhaps with justification, to be about 500 to 1 against making an economic major discovery. So the odds are rather high. So you have to rightly regard that as being very risky. You're going to take odds of 500 to 1 against, or taking on very high risks. Equally well, if you succeed, you're looking to a reward which is commensurate with the risk that you have taken. So the disclaimer, just a few points on our corporate information. You have it there, you'll be familiar with many of the parties involved. There's a gold linear shown there on the right-hand side. Before you start an exploration program, you have certain essentials that you must think about. One, obviously, is the geology. If you haven't got the right geology, there's no point in starting the program. Or you can do something geological, which is very interesting academically, perhaps, but at the end of the day, the object is to make money. That's the whole purpose of the exercise. So the first thing you have to have is the right geology. Then you have to have certain other things. Why? Okay, you got the right geology. What's the next thing? Well, in Ireland, for example, is you have to have some specific interest. And as a tiny company, of course, you are competing against the major world companies. You have a tiny budget. You have a very small group of people who must be very dedicated and very effective. You don't have the huge resources of the major gold companies, the huge databases and so on and so on, and the very excellent people working for them. So you have to think, well, what are you going to bring to the table? What's different? What's extra? Well, in Ireland, we've already played our role in transforming it from a country which was regarded as having no natural resources. Through our discoveries at Galmoy and others at Lisheen and Tara, we're now an international zinc province. Times we were ranking third when we were in full production in the world, in the production of zinc. And I found the previous paper very interesting indeed. Thank you. But I will, for a long time, believe there was a major potential for gold in Ireland. And I don't just mean the leprechauns, yes? See them at the end of the rainbow. Gold ornaments in Ireland, magnificent gold ornaments, some of the best in Western Europe, going back 2,000, 3,000 BC, 4,000 years ago. Academic theory was that the gold was brought in from somewhere else into Ireland and made up into gold ornaments. Those of you who have business experience will know how hard it is to run an import-export business today. Rather than 4,000 years ago, guys rowing across the water bringing gold to Ireland. Nice thought, but not very. So this was a second aspect. And then third, your own personal knowledge. And I knew as a youngster that gold had actually been seen down an old antimony mine in County Monaghan. Been even a lot of excitement at it. Okay, so we put a number of things together, did a tremendous amount of homework. Next, please, if I may. Thanks. And decided that it was worthwhile to start a company focused on gold and indeed other minerals in Ireland. And we found around the old antimony mine, Napoleonic antimony mine, Some people had done work, had seen the gold, as I mentioned. Other companies had come and gone. And between them, you could, if you're optimistic and generous, say they had seen perhaps 3,000 to 4,000 ounces of gold. We wondered why. And what was happening was partly, in a sense, the result of other work we'd done. Ireland was concentrating on base metals, and as our good colleagues here will know, you can hold up a piece of core and say that's 10% zinc or 20% zinc or whatever you like. With gold, if it's dissolved in the rock, you don't see it. And the poor guys who were working away in the antimony mines, they were actually throwing to each side of them this annoying rock of no value whatsoever, which actually contained gold dissolved in the rock. And when the first people, the Canadians and some of their successors, went to look for the gold, they were still using old-fashioned drilling, which was fine for base metals, but they were losing the actual friable rock containing the gold. We came in, we used triple barrel drilling, with chemical additive and so on, thinking, well, we'll get good recovery, and for good or ill, we'll know there's something worthwhile here, or not, as the case may be. In most exploration, it's not, and you stop at that stage. Fortunately, we didn't need to stop, because we now got the sort of excellent results that Canadians had found down the old antimony mines. So we knew we were onto something there. Second thing we did, because remember, we're looking for a major economic discovery. We're not there for the lifestyle, we're not there for the academic, very interesting geology, nothing like that. We're very focused on what we do each time. And we thought, okay, gold is here beside the old antimony mine. Is that just an accident? Is it the one-off? Or is it possible that it belongs to a trend? And a huge amount of work was done by Kevin and Andrew and their colleagues. About 20,000 soil samples were taken over the years. Many people, no doubt, were saying, oh, we've heard this story about the gold in Ireland that's been going on for years. Well, they're quite right. It was going on for years. Well, at the end of it, we have a 30-mile gold trend, 50 kilometers. And in the northeastern end of it, which Kevin will be describing in a few moments, we have two very interesting deposits, Clontibret and Slay Lake. They're just beside one another, so we're combining them as a single mining project, which Kevin will be describing in a few moments. Our licenses are 100% owned. You remember, I said, perhaps optimistically, when we took out the first two licenses, there was 3,000 to 4,000 ounces there. Now, in the immediate vicinity alone of the mine, over 600,000 ounces in a JORC resource, and we're looking in the general area of Clay Lake, Clontibret, at a multi-million ounce gold resource. That's been targeted. Next. We have an experienced board and management team. As I mentioned, I was very much involved in the discovery of the Galmoy zinc deposit and making Ireland a world-class zinc province. Also, perhaps less well known, we were involved with Sumitomo in the discovery of the 5 million ounce Pogo gold deposit in Alaska, now in production as a world-class gold mine. So we know something about gold as well. We have a lot of business experience as well. Seamus Fitzpatrick, our deputy chairman, has founded a fund now, has excess of 3 billion. Here with us this evening, I'm delighted to say, is Garth Earls, who's just joined our board. He was responsible for the other major gold discovery in Ireland, as it's now known, the Dalradian discovery. Now approximately 4.4 million ounces, perhaps even higher than that. If we may have the next slide. Thanks. So the one I've just mentioned, Carriganalt, Dalradian discovery. They're doing a lot of tremendous work there. It's very deep, very high grades, and they're well over the 4 million ounces. Cavanagh, which has been working for quite a while, producing gold from a very small surface pit. And now we ourselves, down here in Clay Lake, Clontiberit, which we think will be at least as big as Dalradia and probably considerably bigger. Thank you.
Thanks, Richard. I'm going to just talk you through some of the geology and how we're going forward in our project area, if I get the right way. Our license area is quite large. It covers over 100,000 hectares. You can see here, hopefully, the grey area here, which is outlined. That's our license area. In Ireland, we're up here, in this area here. We have 3 primary targets. We have the Clay Lake Clontiberit target. Then 7 kilometres down from that area, we have the Glenish target, which again is also very substantial in size. Further down along our 30-mile gold trend is our Slieve Glah target, which comprises 4 major targets that are structurally controlled in relation to the Orlock Bridge Fault, which is the major structure running through here. The geology is basically made up of Ordovician and Silurian rocks of turbidite sequences. I'm going to talk primarily today about the Clay Lake Clontiberit area. This is it. This is the Clontiberit end of the Clay Lake Clontiberit area, and this is the Clontiberit end, the Clay Lake end. Clay Lake was named after this nugget, which was discovered back in the 1980s. There was a big thing of metal detectors, guys going around with metal detectors, and this guy, a local farmer, found this nugget. We saw this in the museum. We got quite excited about it. We saw that it's not an amalgam, where the gold has formed, been rolled together. There was quartz, hematite associated with it. So we started prospecting around that area with soil samples around this area, and then we discovered this, which was the Clay Lake anomaly. This is big. This is about 3 kilometres long by about 2 kilometres wide. It's substantial in size. The soil geochem, as I say, is highlighted here. Then we went in and tested the ground. What did we get? Well, our first outcrops. We started getting some good gold results. We then went in and did drilling and trenching in the area. And we got drill results down in this part, down in the southwest area. We have drilling 7 metres at over 5 grams a tonne. Trenching comes to the surface, 12 metres at over 2 grams a tonne. Then we went into this area in the north here. We started testing in this area here. We got the longest gold intersection in the British Isles, as far as I'm aware of. We got 100 metres at 0.56 grams a tonne, including some very nice graded sections within it. We had 11.5 metres at over 1.5 grams a tonne. So we were pretty excited when we started to see these results. Trenching on the surface, again, we got 5 metres at over 3 grams a tonne. A lot of this area has not been tested yet. We believe it has great potential going forward. This is one of the trenches that we did down in the southwestern section, just to show you the sort of style of mineralization and in a mining scenario how easy it is to sort of identify. These paler areas, they're your gold zones. That's where you want to mine. They're quite distinctive through the mineralization. That area there runs at 12 metres at over 2 grams a tonne. So it's quite nice. The lodes obviously run in that orientation there, so we're cutting across them. This is a cross section through the area. If I actually go back, that's the cross section through this area where we've done primarily most of our work in the area to get a better understanding of the geology and how it all fits together. Basically, we have a series of folding sequences with shears coming up it with significance, as I say, significant grades. You're looking here, 11 metres here at 1.44. We have a stockwork, which is a carbonaceous shale, where we're getting 60 metres at 0.6 grams a tonne, 54 metres, 0.61, including a high-grade section of this where we're getting 10 metres at 1.3, 9 metres at 1.48. So you get this higher grade cap to it, and then a series of lodes coming through which have higher grades on it as well. This is all very shallow. None of our drilling really goes below 100 metres. So we're just scraping the surface in this area. And as I say, these structures, we're seeing them over 3 kilometres, so we're pretty excited about it. And as I say, the main indications in this area is the potential for high tonnage and overall gold content. In other words, it's going to be a large deposit, we believe. This is the Clontiberit end, so I just sort of briefly talked about the Clay Lake portion here. In the Clontiberit end, as Richard said, a small portion of this was known about. They went in, they channel sampled in the old antimony mines. They got over an ounce a tonne, over 0.9 of a metre. They went in and drilled. They had some issues with recovery. We went in, followed that up, triple tube drilling, improved the recovery, and managed to build up a resource in this area. This is our resource as it stands at the moment. It's just over 600,000 ounces, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. But outside that area, great potential. This northern section, if I was to start again, we might even start here. 16.5 metres at over 6.5 grams a tonne. That's an amazing intersection in trenches here. 15 metres at over 3.5 grams a tonne. Pretty impressive results. This area here, we've done some work in as well. Seeing free gold present here as well. It's pretty exciting in this area, outside where we have our resource. And going through a section line through our resource area, which we have sufficient drilling in that area to build a JORC resource there. This gives you an idea. We're sort of looking at 10 metres at 2.5 grams a tonne, 7 metres at 9 grams a tonne, 9 metres at 2.5 grams a tonne, and a whole series of these lodes. These are our lodes, which have disseminated sulfides peppered throughout them. And then we have a fairly large, wide zone of stockwork mineralisation here, bounded by a hanging wall and footwall fault zone. At stockwork, we've got 60 metres at 0.5 grams a tonne and 19 metres at 1.2 grams a tonne. So they're pretty good hits in those areas. The mineralisation, as Richard said, if you were to look at it, you wouldn't think much about it. It's disseminated sulfides. It's just peppered with sulfides through it. This core here is 2.5 metres at 25 grams a tonne. That's nice. This piece of core runs at 32 grams a tonne here. Our JORC resource was done by Tetra Tech, as a well-known and established. I think they've actually done more 43101s than any other company around, so they're pretty established. They did our resource and they did our PEA for us. Our resource, as I say, is just over 600,000 ounces. It's about half and half, inferred, indicated. In the PEA, we basically looked at a minimum mining width of 2 metres, so anything less than 2 metres was discounted, and we looked at a cut-off grade of 0.6 grams a tonne. So that has a minimum mining width of 2 metres and a cut-off grade of 0.6 grams a tonne applied to it. The mineralisation, as I showed, is open along strike. To the north, we have substantial grades, where I talked about the 16.5 metres at over 6.5 grams a tonne. And to the south, we've got gold mineralisation. So it is very open, but it's also open at depth. And one of the things we've been doing in our recent drilling is looking at it a little bit deeper, and we've been getting some very good results in our drilling this summer. This is since the resource, we've looked at the open pit scenarios. We have a starter pit here, which gives us the potential for a quick payback, 2-year payback, and provides a cash flow and underwrites the project in that case. We would then look at an extended pit, which is here, and again, in tandem with that, we would probably look at developing the rest of the Clay Lake Clontibret area around it. Also, as I say, the grades seem to be increasing at depth, so one of the other things we will be looking at is the underground potential with a spiral decline there. The metallurgy of the project, well, it has excellent metallurgical characteristics. One of the great things about it is its mass pull, and it's a key factor in the project. It has 92% of the gold reporting to 5% of the mass. So you're reducing down to 5% the amount of gold to go through. That reduces your downstream processing plant size significantly. It makes great stuff, and I believe we can probably improve on that going forward. We also have, as I say, quite a high gold sulfur ratio, which again is very good for the drivers of the operation. And if you compare it to past and present operations, we're ranked quite highly, right up here in the top quartile for that. So it's, as I say, it's got very good processing characteristics. I won't go into as much detail on the flow process diagram. This is just a schematic, but obviously there's a lot behind this. You have your primary comminution section, ball mill, and then your flotation, then into a bio-oxidization, counter-current decantation. your elution, your pouring of your gold doré bars, and then you got your neutralization and off to your tailing storage facility. Recently, well, the last while we've been drilling, and this summer we've been drilling, and we've got some, as I say, some very good results. This is all primarily within our resource area. So this is all on top of what we already know is there that we've had done by Tetra Tech. We have identified 7 new gold zones. This was our wireframe as was. We've identified 7 new zones within that in our recent drilling. We've intersected high grades. Some of those grades include, as I say, 25 grams a ton, 22 grams a ton, 20 grams a ton, 15 grams a ton, 25, and then in our latest news release we got 35 grams a ton over 1/4 of a meter. So some pretty good grades. We're very happy with those results. And we have wide intersections as well. You're looking at 22.9 meters, 1.5 grams a ton, including 14 meters at 2.2. Again, getting some really good hits in our recent drilling. We have a good handle on the deposit geometry. Pretty much we know when we're drilling what we're going to hit. So again, it adds great confidence to what we can do going forward. Some comparisons of the type of deposits that we see. Macrae's Flats. Macrae's Flats will be quite similar. It's got 8 million ounces in it. Grade of 1.2, so it's a lower grade than what we would have within our resource area. And then you got the big ones in the Chen Shen area, Murantau, where you're looking at similar rock types, Ordovician Silurian, turbidite sequences, and then massive amounts of gold. 169 million ounces present in these deposits. We did a conceptual target based on the Clay Lake Clontibret area, and we looked at it outside the York resource area to give us an idea what we should be aiming for. We looked at grades that we've seen, and we went down from 3.5 grams a ton down to 0.5 grams a ton. And then we looked at the drill success rate. How potential are we going to get this? So we basically looked at this and went, okay, we'll take 1.6, which is what we see in our resource area, and we took a 5% drill success rate. That gives us 4.4 million ounces present in that area if we do that. Including the York resource, that brings us to over the 5 million ounces as well, and that's what we're targeting within this area. Just to basically give you an idea of the indicative project values present there. If our current market cap, it was $5 an ounce in ground, we'd be pretty much close to our market cap. If we were valued at $20 an ounce in ground, this is just on our 600,000 ounces, not in the potential of the whole area, just on our 600,000 ounces, not in drill results that we have outside those areas, we will be valued at 9.6 million. If we were valued at $70 an ounce in ground, 33.6 million. Over the past period, a lot of companies, that's the order between $20 and $70 an ounce is what they've been getting for gold in the ground. If we do the drilling moving forward, we could be up here in our market cap if we hit the 5 million ounce targets. To give you a little bit of a comparison of where we are in compared to a company that's just up the road from us, we have done about 10,000 meters of drilling to date within our area. They've done 130,000 meters of drilling to date. We have a resource of over 600,000 ounces. They have 4.4 million ounces. We have a market cap of 3. They have a market cap of 135. We do that drilling, we're going to be, I would hope, better than that. Okay, just to summarize now, we have a multi-million ounce gold target in our project, in our primary Clay Lake Clontibret area. Potential for high tonnage and overall gold content present there. We have done a PEA on a small portion of that, which has proved technically and financially positive, and is done by an accredited international consultancy group. Recent drilling results suggests we have new increase in grade at depth, new gold zones, high grade and wide intersections, and a management team that has actually done it before. They've brought in a mine before in Ireland. They've been around the course before. They were involved with the Poga gold deposit. Garth was very much involved with the Curragnolt, the Dalradian deposit. And I think that sort of finishes up.
Thank you very much, Kevin.